to our annual conference, SHEleader Digital, that was postponed for September 17. Today we will talk about blockchain and, most importantly, the women in blockchain. Because we find the subject quite interesting, we also planned a second webinar dedicated to blockchain that will reveal more insights on the topic on July 9th, so stay tuned for more details. And without any further delay, I'm happy to welcome our special host, Anastasia Angiova, Institutional Relations Director at Nexo, a crypto lending platform, and our guest, Stefka Stoyanova, Head of Operations and Marketing at AI Ventures, a project that provides initial funding, acceleration, and advisory support to blockchain projects. Enjoy, Anastasia.
Hi there. Hi from me. Thank you very much, Irina, for the introduction. So as we have all of us have heard, the buzzing word blockchain, it is like a technology that is already transforming our world in so many different areas, from the financial services to cybersecurity, and even into our everyday applications such as healthcare. So before we start our talk with Steffi, let me introduce the technology just in a few words and give a perspective for what can be done with it and where it's already being used, some use cases. So what is blockchain technology? It is a digital decentralized ledger where peer-to-peer transactions are recorded. Just in a few words, it enables these transactions with minimum trust required by the parties. And I focus here on trustless or with minimum trust because usually in our society, like business and civil society usually need to trust third parties in order to function well. So why is it called blockchain? It is basically a chain of blocks that store digital information, linked together chronologically and stored in a public database called the chain. So blocks store information about transactions as well as information about information that distinguishes those blocks from all the rest of the blocks. That information, the latter one, is called it's called a hash. It's a unique cryptographic code created by a special algorithm. So, by the way, blocks also store the hash of the previous block, making the chain immutable. So if you want to change, for example, something that was recorded a year ago, you have to go and change all the blocks before that. Before the block after, actually, sorry, the block you want to change, which makes it tamper-proof and immutable. And usually when we talk about blockchain, we mean public blockchain, like the Bitcoin, the first one. And there are also private and consortium blockchains, most often used by enterprises, but we won't go into that. So what is the practical application of blockchain technology? It has a broad potential across so many industries. As I said, besides the financial sector, also in healthcare, in the public sector, in charity, for example, this is a great use case. They're already working real-life projects for charity organizations using blockchain tech to track donations, cutting the intermediary, and providing real time reporting to the donor, for example. Imagine voting, elections. Voting with blockchain literally carries the potential to eliminate election fraud and boost voter turnout. And if you record a vote on the blockchain, it would make it nearly impossible to tamper in the future, and this would make the the election process much more transparent. It's been already tested 2 years ago in the States, even in one of the states in Europe too. Another use case, and and I'm giving the word to Steph here because I know she's fan of the use cases in fashion industry, so really close to your heart, as I know. So supply chains. You can use blockchain to allow companies to verify the authenticity of a product, of a production or a product, the regions of the materials. You can track the whole path from manufacturing to distribution. It's already like widely used in, for example, in the food industry. And Steffi, what other projects have you come across? Tell us more about your experience, about the projects that have been applying to the Starfleet, to Eternity Ventures, and I would personally want to hear more about the your really close to heart fashion industry.
Sure. First, hello everyone. As promised on social media, I'm here with my glass of wine. So cheers to everyone who followed my advice and also has a glass of wine. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity today to speak about a topic that is really dear to our heart. And it's not just blockchain, but it's also women in blockchain. We, with Anastasia, are really passionate about this topic. If you have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat and we'll be following them and trying to answer in real time. Before I jump to the use cases, I just want to quickly say a few words about the social impact of blockchain. And I'm trying to share a screen. Can you see it? Is it visible?
Yes.
Perfect. So I try to illustrate my thought from a little bit of marketing perspective. But why is blockchain important? When I go out and see friends, they always ask me, okay, what is blockchain? And you know, the short answer of the public record of transactions of value doesn't really sometimes make them understand the potential of this technology. So what I'm trying to tell them is that blockchain is a technology that is here to stay. The concept has been around for quite some time and it's been developed. And every year we think of a new implementation. We think of more and more what we can do with it. And I honestly think at this point today, we know just a tiny, or we grasp just a little bit of the full potential of this technology. But it's really important to understand it because it has an impact in society, just like the printing press has had, or the camera and TV has had in the society. They both introduced a new medium that helped spreading of information quicker at a lower cost to more and more people. Then we added, you know, with the camera and the TV, we added the emotional side, the feelings, and with the internet, it was like the next big jump in the society. If you think about what was been happening in 1990s, you would never guess that today we'll have jobs like social media influencer. I mean, what the hell? Each of these medium, what I'm trying to say is each one of them brought change in the society, change in the family, change in the rituals that we all do, change in the way we interact with each other, the cost of that interaction, and of course, a lot of new professions have emerged out of it. And we do believe that blockchain is the next thing like this. I do believe that in 10 years, we'll be looking back in time and saying, wow, I've never thought that there would be a profession like this, or I would never think that interacting with my dear ones around the world will be changed in such and such a way. We honestly think that our way of living will be changed with blockchain. And hope we're not wrong, but so far everything is saying that this is the way to go. But yeah, very quickly to my favorite, as you asked, my favorite industry is the fashion industry. So I was really happy when I started reading about the first implementations of blockchain or trials of implementation of blockchain in the fashion industry, because we all know about big names like H&M, Gap, Zara, etc., who are producing huge quantities of clothing in third world countries, in warehouses where the conditions are not favorable, etc., etc. We all probably remember things like the Rana Plaza incident a few years ago when a whole building collapsed, basically. It brought a lot of questioning of what is being produced where, and a lot of those companies said, oh, we don't produce in those places. But then the consumer started asking more and more questions. Okay, where is this dress being produced? Who produced it? Is it an underage girl? Was it produced in a good condition, in a fair condition? And blockchain is a technology that can answer all those questions. Imagine going to a store, scanning the price tag, the label of the clothing you're just buying, and then seeing the whole journey that dress has been making, from the raw material to production to distribution to warehousing to being sent to you to the store. And if I can add one more layer, it also verifies the authenticity of this product. Think about eBay. You want to buy that beautiful Gucci bag you've always dreamed of, and you see the super bargain price in eBay. So of course, the first question you're going to ask is, oh, is this real or is it a fake one? If that product has such a digital signature, you'll be able to track the whole journey to see all the users who have been using that product before you, so that you know that at the end of the day, that is really, really the thing you wanted to buy at the end of the day. So that is my favorite use case, and thank you very much for asking, because I'm following all the time and hoping that there will be this, the company would emerge that will solve those multiple problems, because I think one of the key roles of blockchain is to address and solve problems that we currently have in our society, as you just currently said, with healthcare or with banking the unbanked, especially in countries like Africa. It has a lot of potential, and I hope by the end of this call, we'll manage to excite more people to learn more about blockchain, to become a little bit more interested in finding a position in blockchain. And yeah, hopefully we'll have many more colleagues by this time next year.
That's really, it would be the best, the greatest achievement. And we're like both really, me and Steffi, we know each other for a while, and we both like are into advocating for women in tech. So I wanted to ask you in this regard, how did you yourself get into blockchain? Since we want to include, we want inclusion, we want more women in blockchain. So tell us your personal story. How did you get in blockchain?
Yeah, so basically, I was a little bit of a skeptic at first. So imagine me, I had 8 years of corporate, retail, and FMCG culture in me. It was my husband actually who excited me a little bit, piece by piece about blockchain. He's part of the Eternity Blockchain project. And I remember years ago, he was coming really excited about everything happening in the blockchain. He was telling me, see this and that and this and this. And I was like, oh, leave me alone. It's too complicated for me. I just have my career and I have other things to care about. But, you know, it was 1 month and then the next month and then the next month. And then I realized, okay, let me just, you know, read a little bit about this, because he's too excited and I need to know at least what is he working. You know, when people ask me, what is he working? And I'm like, oh, this thing blockchain, but I also don't really understand it. So piece by piece, he managed to excite me. And then at one point when I finally realized what is blockchain, I think I went to him one day and I said, but this has such a potential, it can change the whole society. And I remember him being like, well, this is what I've been telling you for so long. But to me, it was this cryptocurrency, this super hardcore stuff. And at the end of the day, it's not. It's
not only, yes.
Yeah,
it's only one thing. Cryptocurrency is just one use case, only one out of like hundreds.
Yeah. And blockchain, at the end of the day, it's a technology, and as every technology, you just need to spend time to understand it. But once you understand it, and trust me, it doesn't take that much, and I'm naturally blonde, so I got it. Once you understand it, then you see so many opportunities, so many use cases. I think I was going around the first few days like, oh, this industry can be changed like that and that and that. And he's like, yes, I'm telling you, it's everywhere. Blockchain literally can solve all the problems that we currently face. So that was my skeptical journey. And ever since that, I joined Eternity Ventures. We created the company in 2017, I think, and we had successfully had 4 Starfleet accelerators, 2 in Sofia, 1 in Malta, 1 in India. And every time I meet these new teams that come to us and they tell me about their revolutionary idea, I'm getting so excited about how they're changing the world. So yeah, thank God my husband made me read about blockchain. And I'll be really happy to hear how you actually joined. I never
Oh,
asked
me?
you.
It was like almost 4 years ago, I think, 3 or 4, somewhere there. I used to consult international investors in our home country, Bulgaria, and in the tech space again. And one of my clients once asked, I want to get into mining, and I was like, mining, like in Bulgaria. He was no Bitcoin mining, and I just started. I had to research for. He wanted to build a farm, like mining farm, and yeah, and that's how I started. Like I found out there were no like video cards at the time. It was like the market was going up and all, and then I started researching more and more. I saw it's not only the mining, of course, it's not only the currencies. Just like you, I started seeing digging more and more into the into the blockchain space. I started reading more, and that's how it happened. Also like I had a good influence around me. Usually that's how I hoped. Like many people share how they got into blockchain, and often it's Bitcoin. Like actually, the luckiest ones are with Bitcoin because usually they got there really early. And there is usually someone that nags and tells you this is the future. Just look at it, and it's really really perseverant. Like really wants you to see it, and you're like, oh, leave me alone with that.
Yeah.
Like actually, the people that we need to thank are the ones that were telling us like once,
Yeah.
like
I
more than
always
once.
hope that one day someone will be saying like, one day I was watching this webinar with 2 girls talking about blockchain. And that
That
was
would
the
be
starting
awesome.
point of my career. So I do really hope if there is someone like that, please let us know. It will be really exciting to know that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, thank God we started it because I'm beyond grateful that I'm the part of this industry. I was reading today, trying to get prepared, what are the forecasts about blockchain? I saw that Deloitte said that, what was it, 10% of the global GDP will be on blockchain in 2025, meaning 10% will be using blockchain in a way in their daily business. And we know last year Facebook said that they're looking into blockchain solutions for their business. Microsoft, Samsung, all the big names are somehow looking into this technology. I also find
Already building many, like building. It's not only the public blockchain too, it's also like the enterprise blockchain solutions, where more or less like private blockchains are
exactly.
implemented. If you start from like huge companies like Mastercard, I don't know, Tesla, and so on. So yeah, we have so like it is applicable. The technology is applicable in so many industries. But what about women in this? I wouldn't say like male, but it's tech. Usually, tech is more or less male dominated, right? So what about women in
Uh,
in in the
when
space?
when I was thinking about how to explain my vision of blockchain is going to disrupt our society in the way that internet was doing it, I got reminded of a book I was reading recently. It's called Invisible Women. It's a book written, I think, by a British author in Paris or something like this. I can share it if anyone is interested. But it's a book that says basically chapter by chapter how the whole society, like the world we live in today, it's built by men, for men, according to male lifestyle. And I was thinking about, wow, we are building a new world with blockchain. And if we exclude again women, in a few years again, women will be not well represented in this great new world. But it's true, women are, I couldn't find like an exact number, but usually what it's being quoted is around 15% of everyone working in blockchain. In our Starfleet teams, we have over 60 teams accepted into the program. We had 2 founders. One was a fashion startup from Berlin, and one is part of the India Starfleet, which just finished. It's a wonderful girl, Firdoshi is doing like her company is called Drift, revolutionizing the transportation with in Indian cities. But the rest were just co-founders or part of the team. So we also, in our small community of Starfleet people, we also don't see that many women being at the forefront. Rarely we see women as part of the team, and every now and then there is a female co-founder. And I was wondering, why is that? I saw, of course, some explanations like women in tech and generally fewer because women, don't have that much access to coding classes and et cetera, or the other one, which I really found curious, was that women are less risk averse, so they're avoiding risk, and cryptocurrencies especially has been associated with dark web and things like that. So I don't know. I think that there isn't just enough public information in general about blockchain, not just women in blockchain. This is also what I see, as a marketing person working in blockchain. People don't talk that much about what is happening in the blockchain space. And it's happening quite a lot. Even here in Bulgaria, we don't talk about how much we're doing. And we are actually doing so much, and our country is doing great. But the public is not as informed about this new technology space. So by having not enough information publicly available, I think that we are unable to get to that many women, and if you don't share how much is being done and how many women are actually thriving and doing, because I'm sure we're going to talk about this, there are amazing women in blockchain, like me and you. I know we follow some kick-ass women. I mean, women that they might be few, but they're doing so well. Like they're doing so much more than in average industries. But yeah, to me, the explanation is there is not enough public information available about this space, and not enough people know about this technology, and especially how many women are thriving and what positions there are available for women. Maybe that's my explanation. What do you think?
Bearing in mind that I'm in the space, for me, I'm just now thinking, yes, maybe from another point of view, maybe it's not that available really. For me, I'm boiling and living with it 24/7. So I'm literally overwhelmed with information. And as for you're totally right. In Bulgaria, we really have. Really great projects. Nexus team, part of Nexus team is also in Bulgaria, and in this part maybe we have over 20 women all across the departments, from legal to PR and marketing, and we have even in the IT also, which is great. So in tech, and 2 of our researchers, blockchain researchers, are 2 amazing smart girls. Also, so what I see is a bit I'm really happy we're getting there, but statistically, for example, there were statistics which was very from Grayscale, a big investment, famous also company in the space. A report from I think last year. It was done only in the States, but of all the investors in the space, 43% were women already and investing in cryptocurrencies. On another, from another research, for example, sorry?
Which one is your favorite? Like, which woman is your?
Oh my God, I don't have one. I have so many.
Mine.
Oh, I can talk only about women. If we start, for example, with women founders and influencers, they're not just like. By the way, women influencers in blockchain are really badass. I mean, they're not just they're so different from the general the influencers you mentioned. I think you referred to in the beginning. So, for example, one of my most favorite ones is Linda Xi. She's now co-founder at SHEleader Capital. It's a crypto asset investment fund. Co-founder meaning like she's one of the main. She's a founder. And previously she was, I follow her from those days. She was product manager at Coinbase, really big leading crypto company. Like generally her journey, I can talk only about her maybe half an hour. Her journey is amazing, like through the blockchain space. She's really like, whoever is like listening to us, she's really great, and I really I think great to follow. Also, you can follow her on Twitter. Another one is Catherine Wu, another personal favorite of mine. Like she's currently principal at a venture capital fund that focuses on tech companies. And among other things, she's so many things. Like she's an expert on the intersection of legislation and blockchain. And I personally enjoy so much her news briefs and her so-called dissections of blockchain-related legal documents. It's if you think about it, it's like the most boring thing to read, but she makes it really understandable and like easy, even funny sometimes. Also, she by the way, Catherine is you can communicate with her. I mean, like she's not like just some star in the sky. She's approachable. Another one definitely worth following and listening to is Laura Sheen, also a personal favorite of mine. She's the host of Unchained and Unconfirmed podcasts. And as you know, like podcasts, they were like one of the best ways to learn about the space. We can share later. Both of us, like I propose our favorite podcasts in, we can do it under the YouTube video, some resources to start with. So yeah, who are your favorite ones?
Well, I had a huge crush for quite some time for Gala Bernazzi from Bangkok. Like I was listening to videos of her talking, and luckily she's a friend of my husband. So one day when we are able to travel again, I do really hope to meet her in person, because she was my rock star, and still is. Of course, she still is my rock star. But I see that we have a really cool question here from my dear friend Jasmine Rifai from Vienna. Hi, Jassie. And she's asking us for some good reasons why women in tech are here to stay. My personal view of why women are needed, not just in blockchain, but in any technology, is because I think we bring a unique viewpoint. So quickly, let me tell you about our team. When we funded the company Eternity Ventures, there were the three of us. So my husband, Luca, who is our partner, and me. And up to this date, I think I'm the operational mindset of them. You know, they always come with, well, we're going to do this and this, and then we're going to do that. And I'm like, okay, chill, guys. How are we going to do this? Have you thought about this, and that? So I honestly think we women are, first of all, having a really unique viewpoint. We are task masters. We know how to do things. We have this, mindset of how to solve a problem, how to bring something to reality. We don't give up, but most of all, we're really empathetic, meaning when a product has been developed or a company has been funded or something is created, I think the women have a really unique point of view of having everyone being included in the concept of that product. Or when you start a company and you want the product to be for everyone, it's good to have women on board, because we are those empathetic creatures who manage to think about all the different groups of people that be using that product. And I see this very often when we work with Starfleet teams. I see very often teams that are just developer boys, super excited about the technology, and they talk all day and night long about what kind of transactions and chains and gadgets and stuff, they use. And the SDK, is it broken? Is it working? But when you come to think about the customer and who's actually going to use that product, I think a female perspective is always an excellent choice of inspiration, because we tend to think about everyone. We tend to think about how really that product will be translated to a human language, and how that product will live its own life. So if we want to create the world of tomorrow with blockchain, we should not exclude women, because women will be those who think about the minorities, the female point of view, the female lifestyle, and I think we are vital for each and every technology. I hope I'm right, Jassy. Text us if you think something else. So what do you think, Anastasia? Why do we need women in blockchain?
The great thing is here that it's a pretty new technology, so it's not. There is still time where, on the scale, if you look at every technology developing, we're in the very beginning of adoption. So there is like plenty of time to get into it. The other great thing is like it's great for women too. It's spread across so many industries that you can be a lawyer and you can be in just international law and go into blockchain. We're so hungry for lawyers, for example. Generally, the space, I mean, not me especially. You can be in marketing like Steffi was like. There is so much space, and it's not just, you don't need to know exactly how it works. If you're curious, you need the basics. There are roles for everyone.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. People sometimes ask me if I can code, and what I always answer is like, when you send an email, do you know what is actually happening when you click the send button? Do you know what script is interfacing with which script, and what is actually happening? You don't know, but you know what's the effect of that email being sent, and what you can do with it, and how you can use it in your daily lives. So I think that is the type of knowledge you have to have in order to succeed in any tech industry. You don't need to code. There are people who are excited about writing the code, where they will take your idea and they will transfer it into a perfect code that will actually work. You don't need to do that. But you can bring your super set of skills, your experience, and your viewpoint into this industry and make it even better and make it even more useful and help us get into the mainstream, because that's where blockchain is at the moment. And it's super good that you mentioned that we are really early on. It is the perfect time. You're not late. You're right on time to join blockchain if that's what you are looking for, and bring your set of skills. I brought my 8 years of corporate FMCG experience, and let me tell you, I flourished just okay. It was perfect. My colleagues helped me understand blockchain more and more each day, and I think my viewpoint was really instrumental in shaping our company and what we do today. And I'm sure your background as an investor was just as valuable for Nexo.
I hope so too. So we have another question here. Why do you think women have less access to coding classes?
I would say it's knowledge, and then there are coding classes. There are like Soft Uni, for example, is doing a lot of coding, and also blockchain classes. I think Telerik is also doing them. I think it's generally information. I cannot answer if it is us women not being as eager to look for those courses, or I cannot understand. I honestly cannot answer that question. But to me, it's really the resources and how much knowledge there is available openly to women. And I know there are classes just for women, but there are classes everywhere. So if you really want to do them, just Google online and see the best one, or ask someone from the blockchain space to recommend something.
This question is from Gloria. I'm addressing personally Gloria here. I don't think personally that there is less access to coding classes for women, maybe at least not in our, like in Europe, for example, and in the developed world. It's just less, there is less information. And like the way it's a big topic, the way we are brought up, the way like society was built for centuries, it's a really big topic, but access is there. So for example, I'm a big fan of coding girls. You can just go on their page, get into the group. The amazing women behind it, Anna Rodulowski, is doing now Women in Tech conference also. It's just the information. It's not the access. It's the access is the same for everyone. That is the problem, more or less.
Yeah.
So I really hope you can contact me, and I can later, and I can just refer you to coding girls, for example. So since we're answering questions, there is question from we have male viewer here, Lubomir. When do you think blockchain will become a world quality standard?
Oh, is this question to us or to him?
I think it's to us. Yeah, it's from him.
Oh, wow. When more women join, that's the short answer. When more women join, it will be much quicker to spread this technology to more and more people. Because, as I said, we are so good at translating things. I remember we had startups who have genius ideas, but they're so eager about the technology that no one could understand what they're selling. And I read again the text, and I was like, guys, what is this product? Is it a mail service? Is it an accounting tool? What is it? And they were like, oh, you don't understand. And I was like, of course, no one understands it. It's so complicated. And of course, in situations like this, who do you think will use your technology where they cannot understand what you're selling them? So girls, join blockchain so we can be everywhere very soon. And our goal is one day that you can use your phone, your mobile device, and you have applications that are running on blockchain without even knowing that it's blockchain, like the example with the mailing service.
I also totally agree that inclusion is way to adoption. Not only women. It's just it should be inclusion of all genders, races, and for example, we mentioned about the question when it will become a standard, when there is real adoption, when we see the real cases and the solutions that blockchain can bring. For example, we mentioned Africa. It's a great use case. Like I would say the whole region is the sub-Saharan region is a great use case because all the unbanked and underbanked, they already made the frog leap. They already transacting with their phones, really simple phones, with cryptocurrencies. They can pay for their taxes there in crypto. They can donate to charity. They can send to their relatives in the other end of the world, for example. We are. I used to say it's spoiled in a way that, for example, we have credit cards, right?
Yeah.
It's we don't need we won't die of hunger if we don't put like an application on our phone and transact with, pay with Bitcoin, for example. We have a credit card, right? If we lose it, we'll go get another one. In underbanked and unbanked countries, it's the hunger, like for that information.
Alternative. They don't have.
Yes, exactly. They cannot open, for example, some of them cannot open a bank account and just like get a credit card just like that. So yes, when we see the real, and we have other use cases. It's not only about of course currency transacting. So when we have more adoption and more inclusion, that is my answer. So we have more questions coming from Jasmine again. Which qualities can women bring to tech industry?
Organizational skills. I think we are really good at that. I mean, especially as a mother, I tend to appreciate how much we can get done. And I think women are really good at organizing processes, workloads, managing teams, creating teams. We have this empathy which makes us really see the value in each and every team member and be the glue that brings everyone together, especially in a starting company where you have so many ups and downs, so many problems. You need someone who is bringing the team together, and I think women are really good in that. And I see startups who have women in their team tend to stick together more. And of course, inclusion and the view of trying to include every group in your target, basically. Like if you create a product, think about everyone who will be using it. So that would be but top on the list is organizational skills. I've seen that in every startup we work with, the woman is the one organizing the process. So that would be top of my list. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. I wouldn't even I even smiled when you said about organizational skills. Like personally, me, I'm not maybe that organized. Maybe not in my life generally, like everyday life, but in work it's very different. I wouldn't even generalize. I mean, women are they're, for example, I'm not risk averse. I'm a huge risk taker. I've been hopping from startup to a startup. I'm in the tech space for 10 years already, I think. So like for me, it's really hard to say what will like generally women bring. What I know for sure is that there are not enough. I know for sure that there are amazing already working projects, blockchain projects with women leading them. I know personally some of them. For example, Neufund.
Yeah.
Great project, right? Great platform for investors. Zoe Abramovic. Sorry. I don't want Adamovich. Sorry. Is the CEO. Amber about that, for example. I know I'm going back like to the question of my favorite women in blockchain, but they're really not enough, but a lot, and they're really making a difference. So Amber, for example, she's the former head of blockchain at JP Morgan, and now she launched her own blockchain startup, Clovier. So another founder. Elizabeth Stark, also a personal favorite. She's a co-founder of Lightning Labs. Catherine Nicholson. Sorry?
Because I think it will be, I was thinking the whole time, how people can exit this call, and hopefully they'll be really inspired and hopefully they'll be willing to understand more. But if some of them is asking, okay, this sounds really good. I want to give this industry a shot. I was thinking that maybe we can also talk a little bit about what steps you can take right now, if you want to start going towards a blockchain career. So what would you be your recommendation?
For starters, like we can share some resources. Like I would firstly see whether I'm really interested what blockchain is. what we're working here on. I would start following, for example, some of the best podcasts. We also can share that. Following the news, different. For example, if I'm interested in the fashion industry, I would start following. There is a lot of information on like the application of blockchain technology in that industry. If I'm interested in the regulations and law and different jurisdictions, for example, I would go into that intersection. If one of my favorite, for example, I didn't mention is IoT and blockchain.
Yeah.
Like huge cases, one of the first even working cases, and so on and so on. So I would start with that. Also, me and Steffi, we're part of some communities here in the Balkans and Bulgaria. You can share, Steffi, about our Balkan blockchain community.
So basically, I would also start with researching and reading. We will share a lot of resources after that. For example, our company has created several lists with like the movies you can watch if you want to get into blockchain and cryptocurrency, the podcasts you can listen, the people who you can follow. There is a lot of information available. So that would be, of course, the first starting point. And the second one for me, it will be to research the companies within you or within your sector, or and start looking for opportunities there, because trust me, there is no amount of preparation you can do to be prepared for a job. There will be always things you don't know, so jump into the deep waters and learn on the job. I think that's the best way to actually understand and grasp this technology. But on the resources side, because we wanted to encourage more women to work and get educated in blockchain here on the Balkans, we created this group on Facebook. It's called Balkan Blockchain Women. And you are more than welcome to join us. It's a group. We still are a few followers, but we regularly share content with like informational articles, new trends which are emerging. So anything useful, events, conferences. If someone is going somewhere, we share this and say, hey guys, who else is going? Let's meet. So I think it's a safe, closed community. It's not a public group, it's a closed one, where you can learn, educate, meet peers. We used to have meetings. Now with Corona, we still haven't had one. Maybe it's a good task, to do one in the summer, to see each other again. But it's really a space where it's a safe space where we like to educate ourselves, talk about what is happening in the blockchain space, and we'll be happy to welcome anyone who is interested into joining us. Just type on Facebook Balkan Blockchain Women and request an access, and we will add you to the group.
I should add here, it's not only for Balkan women. We have women from all around the world interested in also in our group, in our community. We're not that many, but we hope like we'll see more women in joining. Also, I'm a co-organizer and moderator of the Sofia Crypto Meetup. It's also not only like with everything going online. We even recorded we aired, and it is recorded, our last session yesterday with about enterprise blockchain. I think it's very interesting if you're interested to have really from very technical to trading to not so technical at all online meetups. You can find, we'll share that, right? So Sofia Crypto Meetup, you can also Google it and request access. It's currently in Bulgaria. It's not only, I mean, it's everyone's welcome who is interested in blockchain, and it's the most active group, I would say, currently. We want to do that also with the blockchain women one, so everyone's welcome. So the
Facebook page, so that could be a first starting point. But meetups is a great way to get to understand the local blockchain community and to learn about the projects, the people, what is happening, find mentors maybe, or find an internship or a job. Why not?
Exactly.
So Googling the local meetups is a great way to get into the community in a more an informal way, but very effective, I think.
We have more and more questions coming. So another one from Lubomir. What do you think there should be lessons? Do you think there should be lessons in schools and universities in all disciplines for blockchain technology?
Yes, 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 with both my hands. Yes. Actually, with the team last year, we were thinking about this. Actually, we wanted to start an initiatives like a free свободно избираем предмет, free lessons of your choice, something like this in high schools. And I haven't quitted on that idea. I just got pregnant. But I hope when I get full speed back to work, we'll jumpstart on that one. And I know Bujana is listening to me, so I hope she will be excited about this. But I honestly think that would be amazing if we can engage. Maybe school, it's too early, but high school, definitely. I have witnessed this with my own sister. When you exit high school, you do not have a realistic view of what available jobs there are, you know, especially when we talk about inclusion and women in technologies. If you do not see early on the example of women working and to understand what positions available there are, what does it actually mean to work in that, be it blockchain, be it artificial intelligence, or just tech in general, you would never come to the conclusion to actually go and study that subject or work in that field or get interested in learning more. So I think high school is a great opportunity to inspire people because this will be the jobs of the future. So the earlier they understand that these jobs will be the ones, the better for them. It will be such a pity to see people exiting universities and saying, "Oh, I never knew back then that there is something like blockchain and I can learn to code or work in that industry." So I vote with both hands for this.
Totally agree. And when you go with that project on, count me in. I would definitely would be happy to help. We have another question from Marina Marinov. I'm really happy with all the questions coming from guys too, not only women. So it means we're interesting generally. Does this decentralized system of blockchain help to overcome the stereotypes in the tech industry?
Damn, what stereotypes do we target here exactly? Like, to me, if we talk about women in blockchain, yes, of course, there are so many industries that tend to be more female industries that can be revolutionized, like the fashion industry, for example, where the female perspective is highly needed, or with banking the unbanked, there are so many problems in the developing world where women are the leading role. I was reading an article that in general, 80% of the spending in every household is being done by women. And if those women do not participate in the new global economy that it's with cryptocurrencies, you will lose 80% of the global spending power. So yeah, that is my answer. What do you think, Anastasia?
I totally agree, and I think for many reasons. One is that as we already discussed here, that it is quite in the beginning of the curve. We're still at a very early adoption levels. Though the stereotypes are there, if I have to share like my personal experience, I'm really sometimes it makes me really laugh, but I love it when I'm asked what I do and I see this genuine, usually in guys, this genuine surprise that I'm in crypto, I'm in blockchain, And for example, I counted, if you remember, we were together at this huge conference in Miami last year. I counted like for maybe at an after party, maybe 10 guys in a row genuinely surprised I'm in blockchain when we are like me and Steph, for example, you cannot get there without a pass from the conference. So obviously, if we're on a blockchain related conference, we're related to the otherwise what we would do there. So
Do you know,
so
we
yeah.
spoke back then about the prejudice that when you see a guy on a conference with a company t-shirt, you would think, oh, he's a manager or a founder or something like this. But when you see a woman with a t-shirt from the company, you say, oh, she's a promoter girl. You know, this is my big stereotype. Like, she's definitely the promoter girl. And so many times on conferences, people, look at me like I'm the promoter girl, and the person next to me is definitely the co-founder of the company or the founder or someone important, and they should be talking to him. I think the more we see women on stage on those conferences, the more we see that women speak and have an opinion, and that opinion is actually valid, and they say something meaningful, the more we will change this perspective. But I guess it takes time.
Yes,
And
exactly. That was sorry. That was my point exactly. That the more we see women actually like female founders actually being on the stage on conferences and giving their unique point of view, the more we will break the stereotype. There is, I think, it is helping. So yes. So we have more questions. Get ready, Steffi.
ask
Um,
the rest of the questions.
oh, sorry. No, Jasmine said she has to drop off the call, but everyone, you can come in and out anytime you want. It will be all on YouTube. So yeah, you can watch it whenever you want, like later. So Steffi, yeah, tell me more about you started with you gave one example actually of women in blockchain that you admire and you follow and you would like to meet. Tell me more. Give us more examples.
Yeah. Well, I really, really like the Unchained podcast. So Laura Shin. Every time I see on the TV, Meltem Demir, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name.
I
Demir.
think,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope so.
I miss her. I love her too.
She's amazing. I don't know how to describe her. She's just doing so much, and especially when on American TV, when you need someone to dissect what is happening or why is Facebook looking into blockchain, she's wonderful. I mean, she managed to articulate why is blockchain important, why this thing that is happening is major, and what is the impact of that. So she's amazing. Let me think who else. Elizabeth Rossellio, with Peso. I mean, when we talk about Africa, unbanked, and what do we talk about when we say unbanked? We talk about people who do not have access to bank or do not have a bank account, cannot send money from me to you. And I mean, think about how many times a day you send some kind of a payment. They cannot do that. They have their phone. In Kenya, they have M-Pesa, which is basically like sending SMSs with prepaid. You prepay like a prepaid card and then you send SMS. So cross-border transactions in Africa, they cost a fortune. And with blockchain, it takes less time and it takes a small fee. I mean, of course, it changes lives. Of course, it gives opportunities and tools in the hands of people that need them most. So people who work in that space, to me, I always admire them. And yeah, I talked to you about use cases that we can never think of. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the founder of that company, but when we were in Kenya, they shared with us the use case of albino people in Africa who are suffering from not enough amount of sunscreen. To them, sunscreen is vital. They live in Africa. They cannot go outside because they're white and so white that they burn for seconds. And there are so many problems with the supply chain that the biggest amount of sunscreen is getting lost and do not go to where it's actually needed. And this woman is telling you the story of her startup that saves lives in a community that you would never think of. So these are the type of women that I get really inspired by, you know, that do a huge social impact. And to me, Connie Galipe, I think it was her name, BitGift Foundation. You know, these are the people who use blockchain to make lives in different communities better. And I hope one day I'll be one of them.
You already are. Like you told us about so many cases from Eternity's Eternity Ventures Starfleet. You're doing a great job there. I'm following you, of course. You know, like I were at the first even.
Thank you.
Of course, I even was in one of your startups later, though, but still. So of course, I think though it's a great note to finish. I think our time is off, is done. You can post your questions. We saw there is we're gonna continue with part two.
Yeah, it's maybe a good time to ask people to share the industry they work in, because we will try, you know, to give them use cases and ideas of what can be done. If you wish to bring innovation into your company or your industry, just send us a message, and we'll be happy to think and talk and dissect later on the second call what could be done in your industry. I think that will be really valuable.
Yeah, oh, you very specific. You can ask us about like general questions about blockchain. You can ask us specific about specific industries. We'll be happy to answer. You can do it even later. And I see Irina is already in. And thank you everyone for the great discussion. Loved all of your questions, and I'm passing the word to Irina now.
Thank you, ladies. It was a really inspiring conversation, and I hope all of us enjoyed it as I did. So I want to invite you again, everyone, at July 9th at 6 p.m. EET. We will be here together, but we will talk more about blockchain insights. So see you soon. Ciao, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. It was an
Bye-bye.
amazing talk. Thank